The people who get the best out of life are those who never stop dreaming and aiming for more. These people are the ones who believe in the power of their minds. They don't judge their outcome by the outlook of their surroundings or where they are starting from. They don't allow anything to get in the way of their dreams. These people allow nothing get in the way of their expectations in life. These ones are blind to the biases and the prejudices of the world. They believe that if they want it enough and they work hard enough, they will get it. They don't allow life decide how much they should expect from life or how far they will go. But there are some others who never seem to do much with their own lives. There are some others caught in the web of shame, inferiority, and insecurity. They'll listen to whatever life tells them. They'll believe it when life says they can't amount to so much because no one around them has ever done that. They believe it when life says that they shouldn't expect much from life. After all, it's the hope that kills. So these people go through life with low expectations. They're not expecting to do much with themselves. They don't believe that they have anything to offer. So they glide through life and in an instant they're gone into obscurity. Potentials never realized, dreams never even conceived, and a whole life never lived. I sometimes wonder what would happen if we all knew the days that we would leave the earth. What would we do differently? What wouldn't we do? What would we expect? Would it cause us to throw away our dreams and aspirations or cause us to dream even more fiercely? Would it cause us to try or not to try at all? Because the danger of low expectations is that you never really get to live. You think you're leaving, but you aren't. A life lived highly tainted and masked by your fears and insecurities is not the life you should be living. How sad it is to live a life shrouded in the shame of your background. Your voice silenced by the belief that you would never amount to much. The danger of low expectations is that you never get to meet the real you. You would only meet the you who settled for a life that was way less than deserved. You would only meet the you who never even knew what he deserves. The truth is, you would never know who you are because you've seen that the human mind is capable of much more than any one of us could ever conceive. From the likes of Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, and Charles Darwin in the field of science, to some of the greatest artists that ever lived, like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, J.M.W. Turner, and Vincent van Gogh. How about the minds that produced some of the greatest literary works that ever existed, like Shakespeare, Ernest Hemingway, C.S. Lewis, Stephen King, Dr. Seuss, and so many others? Shall we explore the field of music? Shall we start with the Beatles to Elvis Presley, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson? What about those who pushed past fears and fought for the liberation of their minds? What about Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela? What about the stories still being written about those who are changing the world? What about Malala Yousafzai, who risks her life to fight for the rights of women like herself to be educated in Pakistan? Or Oprah Winfrey, who has shown us that there is more power in being a woman than we ever thought was possible? There are so many others whose stories I don't know about. Some in the villages are spread across the world, some in cities, others in nations we haven't even heard of. But yet, demanding more from life, insisting the life would not dictate what they are or who they should be. So who are you? And why do you think that any of these people are better than you? Why do you demand less for yourself? Would you rather you lived in a different world? A world that didn't judge you based on where you are coming from. A world that offered you spaces for your ideas to bloom. A world that gave you opportunities. If you lived in such a world, what would you be? Would you allow yourself to dream? Would you run a business empire? Would you love fiercely with your whole heart? Would you give everything you have to the vision in your heart? What would you do differently? Because the you that will exist in a perfect world is the you that should exist everywhere else. Inequality, injustice, corruption, and manipulations are all constants in our world. People have lived and fought through it all, yet they never lowered their expectations. We could never have a perfect world, but we could have people who dream regardless. We could have people who insist on what they want from life. We could have people who wouldn't be afraid to try and fail. We could have people who aren't afraid to explore all the possibilities available to them. We could have people willing to fight for the lives they want. You're not any less. You simply demand less from yourself. Raise your expectations. Raise your expectations from yourself. Demand better for yourself. Hold yourself accountable for your dreams. Think of all the people who have inspired you, people who rose above their circumstances, people who refuse to settle. Think about them and ask yourself, why not me? Why not you? Why not? Why not you getting the education everyone said you could never get? Why not building that restaurant that everyone said you could never build? Why not setting up that foundation? Why not building that business from the scratch? Why not becoming the musician you always wanted to be? Why not finally going into the world with your art? You don't have all you need right now. Why not? Demand better for yourself. Demand discipline. Demand courage. Demand faith from yourself. Demand confidence for yourself. Because sometimes we lower our expectations simply because we aren't ready to put in the work either. We aren't ready to give our dreams the focus they deserve. We aren't ready to do the fighting that our destinies deserve. Many times we're settled because it's easier. It's easier than the 1,000 broken hearts. It's easier than the 1,000 failures. It's easier than the mockery and the shame that could follow. I'm not here to promise you that you won't fail. I'm not here to promise you that the future you want will not take you sweat and your blood. I'm not here to promise you a future without sacrifices. But I'm here to tell you that you've got what it takes to meet the demands of your future. Yes, it's in you. You don't have to be Oprah or an Isaac Newton or an Elvis Presley. Who you are is good enough. You've got something that will make an impact on the world, and it will start with those closest to you. It will start from those who see you beginning to hold yourself accountable. They will be inspired by your resilience, your courage to chase your dreams above all odds. They'll be inspired by your heart, your faith, and your compassion. That's where the impact is. If one person is inspired to do better because of you, you are already changing the world. But you won't stop there. From one person, you begin to think, how can I inspire more people? How can I get to the nations? You keep raising your expectations, demanding more from life and from yourself. That's how you change the world. You see, the danger of low expectations is that you never know what you could have been. You would never know if you carried something that you could have touched lives. You would never know what you could have invented, what you could have created, the songs you could have birthed, the books you could have written, the lives you could have impacted, the change you could have brought. Don't live your life that way. A wise man once said, it's better to die trying than living without trying at all. Give yourself a chance. You deserve more from life. You deserve better from yourself. Low expectations will make you a slave to your fears. They'll make you a slave to something you haven't even experienced. The irony of life. Raise your expectations. Demand more. You can be more. You do not know how powerful you become till you decide that there's no limit to what you can achieve. So take back your power and demand more from life.